Hello everyone and welcome to Ty the Tasmanian Tiger. Let's figure out why we'd be going on this adventure in the first place by starting a new game.
I gotcha! Okay, Ty, I'm it. Catch me if you can. Don't move, mate. I'll get help.
Don't be afraid, Ty. I am Nandu Gilly, the Bunyip Elder.
G'day, mate.
It's time you knew the truth. Years ago, a great battle was fought over the fate of 5 mystic talismans.
We're here first, you stinking furry mammal opportunists. Remember the comet! No! You mammals don't deserve to be at the top of the food chain! No! Once and for all. Ah! Oh, my head!
Give it up, Boss Cass.
Never, never, never! Bye-bye. No!
Those brave few who challenged Boss Cass were trapped in the dreaming.
Mom? Dad?
Word grows that Boss Cass is seeking out the talismans again. He must be stopped at all costs. It's up to you to find the talismans before he does.
It's up to me to save my family.
Oi, Ty! Are you okay?
Maury? Oh, am I glad to see you. Oh, you're never gonna believe what just happened. I was playing in the forest when the ground suddenly... And that's when you showed up.
Rude! Sounds like you've got a fair dinkum adventure ahead of you, mate. Not that I'm into that sort of thing. I'd much rather be at home watching the footy. But I tell you what, you do the adventuring and I'll help you out where I can. Welcome to Rainbow Cliffs, mate. By the way, whenever you see one of these signs, I won't be far away. I've heard that if you press the action button, you can talk to me, whatever that means. Okay, now let's get down to brass tacks. If you're gonna be out adventuring, then you'll need another boomerang. And I know just the place to find one. Head down to Bly Bly Station. I'll meet you there.
So Maury is a somewhat unusual mentor, but beggars can't be choosers, and he will be surprisingly helpful along our journey. In addition to being an all-around fun personality, of course.
G'day, Julius. Now, if I just reroute these wires to... I said g'day, mate. Are you deaf?
Oh, goodness gracious me. Oh, I didn't see you there. I was just making some last-minute adjustments. Well, you must be Ty.
G'day. So, you old coot. What's this contraption do?
This contraption is the key to finding the talismans. Why is this so? It's quite simple, really. It uses an oscillatory microfeeder to scan for trace energy signals that match the unique power matrix of the talismans.
Huh?
Like a big nose that sniffs them out.
Oh.
Ah. And thunder eggs are the key to powering the machine.
Thunder eggs? Oh, they're as rare as hen's teeth, mate.
Couldn't you just use batteries?
If only it was that easy. You see, this machine doesn't just find where the talismans are, it actually teleports them here.
Struck me lucky.
And that, my friends, requires a great deal of energy.
So, how is Ty here gonna find all these thunder eggs?
Hey, I was just wondering that myself.
A reasonable question. I've created these portals to lead Ty to areas rich with them. Of course, they won't just be lying all over the place.
Just our luck.
A lot of them will have already been found. The trick will be convincing the locals to part with their prized possessions. But I'm afraid I can't help you with that. If you're as resourceful as they say, Ty, I'm sure you'll think of something.
Righto, Ty. There's no point in mucking about. You've got to find a second boomerang. I'll see you in 2-up.
So we just discovered our one true destiny and have to head off to vanquish evil, but at least we don't have to do it alone.
This billabong has got the lot. Gum trees, wallabies, and even a koala. There's plenty to do here, so let's get a move on. Listen, mate, I solved your problem. I found you a second boomerang.
That's great. Where is it?
See that tree over there?
Yeah?
Well, it's not there.
Right. Well, where is it?
It's on top of Frillneck Peak.
Oh, great.
Oh, don't worry. You'll just have to jump, run, rang, and bite your way there while avoiding Boss Cass's henchmen. Look, mate, life wasn't meant to be easy.
Don't worry, Maury, I'm sure we'll get used to it in time, but in the meantime, one of the many things that sets Ty apart from other 3D platformers is how ruthlessly the developers sometimes hid the collectibles. For example, there are a whole ton of these invisible boxes with gallery pictures in them, though they do become visible later with the use of a special boomerang.
Beauty! Butler! Bonza! I got one!
Yeah. One down, 71 to go. Come on, let's get a move on.
Maury was giving us some brutal honesty there. There are 71 more Thunder Eggs, and yes, we will collect all of them.
I reckon those dunnies are a complete waste of space. Only last week I used one, walked 2 blocks, was clobbered by a frill, and then woke up back on the dunny, which was the best place to be given the surprise I got. Julius reckons it's got something to do with the space-time conundrum. But if you ask me, I think it's a load of bull dust.
So, you're saying that if I have an accident, I'll end up back at one of these?
Something like that.
So just in case you thought you misheard that, yeah, the checkpoints are portable bathrooms. Because apparently they somehow warp the fabric of space-time, which is pretty much my favorite thing ever.
Truth, Ty, you've got a fair set of choppers on you. I reckon you could put them to good use by pressing the bite button. Get it? Choppers, bite button. Never mind, Ty, move on. Have a go at those crates.
Something Mori neglected to mention is that we can chain our bites together if we press circle at just the right time. And we are going to be picking up all these opals because even though we don't know what they do yet, you can bet they're important.
Now, I was speaking to a bloke down the local watering hole, and he reckons you can use your rangs to take care of enemies and smash things. Shoo Ripper! He said something, now wait a minute, he said something about pressing the throw button to use them.
Just as Mori said, our trusty boomerang can indeed be used to clobber enemies and break open crates. It's one of our 2 main methods of attack, the other being our bite. And we just picked up the magnet power-up, which draws opals to us instead of us having to run around and collect them, which is quite useful and saves a lot of time. Excuse me turning around, it's habit from being fearful of leaving collectibles behind. I'm not going to be collecting all of these gallery pictures while they're still invisible. I'll be coming back later with the boomerang that lets you see them.
Oh no, not more cages.
Struth! What happened here?
Boss Cass did this. He's caged all your bilby mates and hidden them across the land.
Oh, yeah? Well, big mistake. No one messes with my mates.
Now there's a thunder egg in each area if you free them.
No worries. Unless you're Boss Cass.
Ty probably has a right to be angry seeing as how he was raised as part of their family, and that adorable little jig the Bilby just did does not make up for it. So we've got another type of collectible over here. The Golden Cog. We don't know what these do just yet, but we'll find out shortly. They're very important as well. And we can see there's another one on this ledge up here, which you wouldn't think we'd be able to reach, but Ty is nothing if not a platformer mascot. That's the stuff. Now you might think that all these collectibles could get a little tedious, but that's not the case at all.
I don't know if it's true, but I heard about this bloke who found 300 opals, then took them to Julius's opal machine. Anyway, something weird happened, and he ended up with a thunder egg.
Righto.
As I was saying, the worlds are actually really fun to explore, and the collectibles only encourage you to explore it thoroughly. And I mean very thoroughly. Very thoroughly. If nothing else, the game is very good at getting you to stray from the beaten path. We've got some angry-looking kangaroo punks over here who think they can take us on, and our ring may not be a match for them, but you can bet our bite is. It's really satisfying to chain bites together like that. Speaking of which, if we hit over here, we can put that to some platforming use instead. And get rid of some nasty spy cameras as a bonus. Although this stage is a tutorial stage, it doesn't really feel like one in a traditional sense. Yes, there's a ton of tutorial dialogue explaining how you do stuff, but the collecting is really where the difficulty comes from, and this stage has plenty of that too. You might have noticed that now that we've collected 100 opals, there's a little 1 up there in the opal counter, and that means we can activate a special bite, which kills enemies instantly regardless of their type, and chains hits together much easier. Yes, I always love doing that. There's not many opportunities to use the super bite, but when you do, it's always really satisfying. The bite does kind of home in on enemies and boxes, but you still have to be aiming for them, unlike I was right there. Now there's a mixture of enemies up ahead, a kangaroo and some frills. The frills do not actually get taken down by our bites, they dodge them. Mixing the enemies together makes it a little harder, but not too hard. This game really isn't combat focused. Still, it does a good job at what it's trying to do, which is show you that you can't just take down everything with your rangs. Some enemies require different tactics. That's 3 dancing blue friends down, only 2 to go. These picnic baskets sometimes have an equal chance of dropping health or a magnet.
Yes. This just might do.
G'day, Julius.
Oh, hello, Ty. You know this golden cog just might be perfect for my latest invention. The Cogulacious Boomerangulus Extrapolator.
Right, what's that?
Why, it's a machine that creates experimental techno-rangs. I need golden cogs to build a new one, 15 to be exact. And if you find enough, bring them to my lab in Rainbow Cliffs and I'll build you a new boomerang.
You're on, mate.
So Julius will build us a new fancy boomerang for every 15 cogs we get, and you better believe we're all over that. There are 10 golden cogs per stage, so it won't be long before we get our first new boomerang. I already mentioned that one boomerang lets you see the invisible boxes, but let's keep the others a surprise. The hardest thing about the combat is remembering to move around and not leave yourself open. It's really tempting to just stand still and throw your boomerangs, but that will get you killed pretty quickly. Again, the game's combat is not really where the design is focused, but that's not to say it still isn't fun. As a kid playing this game, I had absolutely no idea that the hidden picture boxes were even a thing, because, I mean, look at that. Can you see that? Because I couldn't. One of the concerns of 3D platformers, at least to some, was that there was not enough enjoyment for adults, but I'd like to see a child try to collect 256 of those gallery pictures. There's some important looking stuff behind that ledge over there, but we can't quite reach it yet. Maybe later. Definitely later, don't worry, we're coming back for it. On our left over here we can see a golden cog that we can't reach yet, but behind the pillar there's another bilby. It took me a shamefully long time to find this one. If the collectibles seem easy to find right now, then I guarantee your opinion will change as soon as we leave 2 up. Now, we could just regular bite this guy, but why would we do that? We have a power bite in store. Now that was a whole lot more satisfying, wasn't it? And if we head up here, we loop back around to the golden cog, and of course we can jump back onto the bridge after we grab it. This is also kind of foreshadowing to how really awesome the level design is later, but you don't gotta take my word for it, you'll see it for yourself. Of course, we really won't get anywhere without that second boomerang, which should be around here somewhere. I mean, we've climbed quite a bit. You can see we have 2 frills here and a golden cog surrounded by water. Now, Ty, even though he's a platformer mascot, is not allergic to water. He will not drown in it. That's not to say he can swim. Because he can't. But he can paddle for now, and that's probably good enough for a little while. I mean, he can't do it all. What's he gonna do, use his boomerangs to swim? Come on now. We're seeing more and more enemies. Hopefully that second boomerang is nearby, so you know, things will be a little easier on us. I mean, it's not like we're having an incredibly hard time right now, but the sooner we defeat Boss Cass's henchmen, the better, right? We also seem to be nearing our opal quota, which is always a good sign. 300 may seem like a lot, but it's really not. Again, excuse the habit, I was looking for potentially missed collectibles.
Well, I wouldn't have believed it if I didn't see it with my own eyes. You actually found the second boomerang. Well, there's no time to sit around and feel all pleased with yourself. You're gonna have to put that new rang to use. You see, I had a thunder egg I was gonna give you, but a bunch of frills stole it. You'll have to take them all on to get it back.
As much as we might want to jump right in and play with our new power-up, we have another collectible to get first. We can't go getting too excited. Now we can go dispense some justice. If you remember correctly, I said that the most important thing about the combat was keeping yourself moving. That is especially apparent here. Having 2 boomerangs certainly makes this a lot easier, but we can't just go being careless. Maybe if we had 10 or so boomerangs, but I don't think Ty can even hold that many. Alright, mission accomplished. We got our second boomerang, we're twice as powerful, and now we can get out of here. Or so you'd think. But we've still got one more trick to learn before we go.
Well, it looks like today wasn't a complete waste of time. You seem to have learned a thing or two.
Oh, yeah, you're too right.
You know, there's one other thing I could show you, but I don't know if you're ready for it yet.
Yeah? Well, what's that?
Well, a mate of mine who knows a mate who knows a mate who knows another mate says you can use 2 boomerangs to glide long distances.
How?
It's simple, really. You jump, then press and hold jump again to start gliding.
Right. Is that safe?
Safe as houses, mate. See if you can glide across this gap to reach that thunder egg.
Well, if you say so, Maury.
You ripper!
Look at that. Me mate's mate was telling the truth after all. Just as well I didn't call for an ambulance. Well, lad, you made it through with flying colours. And as a little extra bonus, a stopwatch will appear near the start.
Okay. What's that for?
The racetrack. You can race the clock to win another thunder egg.
Right. I'll give that a go later.
Well, that's enough gas bagging from me. Let's head back to the Bly station.
Well, wait, hold on now. We're still not quite ready to leave.
See these funny-looking mushrooms? A bloke down at the local watering hole reckons that if you stand in the middle of them, something weird will happen.
Well, you know what? What have we got to lose? We didn't get this far by being fearful. Well, what do you know?
Welcome to the track. Race to the finish as fast as you can, mate. The checkpoints will lead the way. But miss one and the race is over. Good luck!
Now this race is simple enough. Ty's just racing against himself in the clock, but in the other races he'll be going up against an opponent, and then things won't be so easy. And if you think he's always going to be racing on foot, well, you'd be wrong there too. But hey, you know, we've got a little while before we have to think about that. Let's just enjoy what is essentially our victory lap through the stage. With some kinda odd music. A little weird.
That was a ripper of a race, Ty. You're faster than a long-legged emu with a case of the bellyaches. Case of the bellyaches. I reckon you've earned this.
Oh, you beauty!
That's one more Thunder Egg, and a little bit closer to finding the talismans, but we're still missing a few opals and a bilby, so I'll just cut a little bit ahead. Now I'm sure this place looks familiar. Now that we've gained our glide ability, we can access that ledge and get the rest of our goodies. Oh, and our captured friend. That's important too. We're getting so close I can taste it, but we're still just a little bit short. Now there's a lot of water back here, and while I said Ty cannot drown, it's still much preferred to stay on the platforms as much as possible. Because if we didn't, we couldn't get that golden cog. Also, there are deadly crocodiles in the water, that might be important too. We're gonna pretend I fell in the water on purpose so you could see the cute little animation he has for drying off. There we go. Something worth noting is that the graphics hold up fairly well considering how old this game is. You can see there are some giant red buttons on the cliff over there, and I bet you know what we have to do with those. It does help, although it's not necessary, to enter first-person mode. The rings do lock on some, but it would be hard to hit that last one. Those switches activated some moving platforms, and while we can see a ton of enemies and goodies behind us, we're going to deal with those first. You can kill these crocodiles, which does make things easier in case we were to fall. But we're not going to fall, we're a platforming mascot, we got this handled.
That wasn't a half-bad effort, Ty. I reckon with a little more practice, you'll get there. Cool!
I love how much positive reinforcement we're getting from everyone. That alone should make this whole vanquishing evil thing a lot easier. And of course there's a bilby hidden behind the waterfall. It took me years to find that one, no joke. Well, with that out of the way, the only thing we really have to worry about is our opals. But first, what's this green thing? Yeah, it turns us into an ancient bunyip spirit, which allows us to absolutely destroy everything. We are invincible, and we can roar and punch the ground. You know what's going on here, you can see it. We turn back to normal after a set period of time, but we also turn back to normal if we run into the water. I think I try to run into the water, but it runs out. Yep. Now that may have seemed very confusing, and it was confusing for me too when I first found it. I'm not actually sure if we ever use that power-up again. Something tells me we do, but I can't quite remember. I'm sure you can see what I'm looking at up here. Now again, I'm not going to find all of these while they're still invisible, I'm going to be coming back. Finding them while they're invisible, even though I know where they are, would be a huge pain. There's a few more crates up here, and you know what that means. We're finally about to finish off our opals. And with that, we've officially 100%ed the stage as soon as we take these back to the opal machine. And I want to show you how you're meant to leave this area. This place should look familiar. We've looped back around because the environments in this game are really awesome like that. And right up here is the opal machine, so we can 100% the stage and leave. Now this intro stage may not have seemed like much, but I think it does a really good job at what it tries to, which is introduce the player to the game design. And we could just walk out of the portal, but we do have that one last super bite.
I found it!
Let me see that. At last, a mystic talisman. It's time to move out. We got 4 more talismans to find. You there, fetch my bags. Soon unimaginable power will be mine. Mine.
Well, that seemed pretty bad, but we've got the entire rest of the game to worry about Boss Cass's evil plans. For now, this door is open, giving us access to 2 new areas, but there's one more collectible we want to look at while we're in here.
Oh, you little ripper, Ty! You found a fair dinkum rainbow scale! When you find enough, take them to the Bunyip Elder at Rainbow Cliffs.
There are 25 rainbow scales in total, and we'll be finding all of them, but let's not talk about what they are just yet. Thank you all for coming. I'll see you next time for more of this incredibly underrated and enjoyable platformer.